Here we are once again. Thanks for taking the time to have a look at our video, and welcome back to Park It Dyno and Suspension. So here I am in the roller. We've got this CBR600 on the dyno, and as you can see, it's got a baffle fitted. Now, we've done videos about baffles and stuff like that, and everyone kind of knows the crack, what they do to power and everything like that. But what do they do for fueling? Now, I kind of know what they do for fueling, but do you guys out there know what they do for fueling? Because we get asked a lot. I'm going to put my baffle in once it's all mapped, or, you know, should you map it with a baffle in and then I'll take it out for my rides and whatnot? So really, I'm here today to do some measuring. We need to map this anyway, baffle in, baffle out. So we'll use it as a good example of how the fueling can change and show you that. And then at the end, obviously, we'll come up with a conclusion. Is it best to map your bike with baffle in or with baffle out, depending on how often you're going to use your baffle? You know, you might only need a baffle for, you know, the odd track day every year. So should you map it in? Should you map it out? Or should you do what this has got? It's got a PowerCommander 5, where we're going to put a map switch on there. And obviously we can create a baffle map and a no baffle map, so you can flick between them. But that's enough of me talking. I'm going to get mapping this machine. Let's have a little look at that, and then we'll revisit and we'll chat in a little bit. One slide hammer later, one baffle out. Let's rock and roll. Well, there we have it. That's the bike mapped out without the baffle. And now I'm just going to pull those details into the PowerCommander, set the map switch, and we'll go and have a look at those results. So this one first, this is the PowerCommander map that we wrote with the baffle. So instantly we can see around here and here that there's fuel coming out. That's because once we've measured it on the dyno, the bike's running rich, and if we come down to more the top end, you can see around here -15, -20. This is all fuel that we've had to take out of the bike in order to make it perform, and we're targeting 13.2 AFR on the Lambda for this one. So that's the baffle. Let's take a look at the map that we wrote without the baffle. So if we head to the top end, straight off the bat, you can see without the baffle, we're not having to pull any sort of near the amount of fuel out that was there. Looking at those numbers, in some places it's 3/4 less, in other places it's half. And then if we move up the map, again, we can see the difference. In actual fact, we're putting some fuel in this area here. We're still getting fuel out, but nowhere near as much fuel needed to be taken out of the bike as if when we have the baffle in. So you can see the two maps are very, very different. So that's the comparison between the two. Ignore this bike here. This is the star of a future video where we're going to be talking about HM auto blippers on the S1000RR and also mapping these early generation ones. But back to those fuel maps on the PowerCommander for the CBR. So really what you can see there is the map that has the baffle in, we're taking out a substantial amount of fuel. Or, well, you know, a significant amount. The map then without the baffle is a normal map. And there's differences. The differences being that we're taking more fuel out when we've got the baffle fitted. So really, to answer the thumbnail and the title of this video, what is our best way to map? Well, think about it this way. So we map your bike with a baffle in. You can see in this example, and on others, to be fair, we're taking fuel out to get it to fuel how we need it to fuel. So you then take that baffle out. That bike has then got fuel taken out. So it's going to free up the exhaust flow, but it's also then going to make the bike run leaner. So you can see here where we've got sort of -6s, -8s. And in the same place with the baffle, we've got -15s, -20s. Well, that then means that if we're targeting 13.2 for a -6, and then that value has then gone to -15, that could well jump up to 14.5, maybe even more AFR. So, you know, what we're trying to demonstrate here is if we map with a baffle in and you take it out, that bike, looking at these results and sort of generally speaking, is going to run leaner. And it's not going to run right. Now, putting a baffle in is still not going to run right. You can see that because the fuel maps are very different. So you've got to weigh out what is the best way. You know, that's not so over-rich that it's going to create fouling problems or anything like that. But for us, really, we would prefer to see the bikes mapped without the baffle. And then if you need to put that baffle in on occasion, then do so. It's going to potentially richen the bike up. It's not going to run perfectly. But if you're going to then map it without a baffle, think, you know what, I don't need that thing. I'll take it out. That bike's going to run significantly leaner. And might cause you problems, might not, but it certainly ain't going to run great. And, you know, we get calls all the time asking us, you know, what is our opinion and whatnot. We've even had instances in the past where we've mapped baffled bikes, had to pull a lot of fuel out, and they just haven't run very well. Now, we always caveat that, but some people just don't get it. And then when they take that baffle out, God, it's probably going to run even worse because we've had to pull a chunk of change out to make it run with the baffle. But realistically, it's been that backed up. You know, we've seen some of the other videos, R1s losing 30 horsepower. I've seen S1000s lose 35, 40 horsepower. It's phenomenal. But, you know, I hope this has sort of give you a little bit of an insight into mapping with a baffle and mapping without a baffle. Obviously, I haven't gone into the absolute technicals of it, but the basic element of it is if you're mapping with a baffle, invariably you're going to have to pull fuel. And if you take that baffle out, the bike's going to run leaner. So realistically, consider this. Either, if noise is an issue, a longer can and a quieter can so you don't have to run a baffle, or map it without the baffle, and on those occasions that you put that baffle in, you know, it's going to run a bit richer. Or in this instance, when you're using a fuel module, potentially we can write you two maps. We'll write you a baffle in map and a baffle out map and a means to switch between them. Obviously, that's not available on all systems, but that has also got to be a bit of a consideration. So, once again, thanks for taking the time to have a look at this video to see what we're doing here. Like I say, we've got plenty of content in the works. Now, we haven't been releasing loads and loads, but there's so much videos that need to be collated. So, you know, keep an eye on the page, subscribe to it, hit the bell icon so that when we do drop one, you'll be the first to know. And like I say, thanks again, and until next time.